Welcome to the Maison Maitland Kitchens. Today we're going to do a very simple French tomato tart. What I like about this is that for the base we actually use frozen puff pastry. So this is an easy appetizer or a quick lunch paired with a salad if people are coming over. And there's just a little bit of prep beforehand. You could actually assemble the whole thing and put it in the fridge just an hour or so before your company comes and then be able to pop it right in the oven. So it's nice and easy. To prepare all the toppings, this is what we're going to start with. So again, I love these small cocktail tomatoes that are grown in Ontario. I find they're the sweetest we can get during the winter months. So I have my beautiful little tomato knife I actually picked up in Paris a number of years ago. And what's important about tomato knives, you'll see the ridges on it. They're able to cut through the skin and not harm the fruit. So here we go. And we're going to start doing the slices for the tart. Nice thin slices like this. We're going to prepare a whole dish of these. And then following the tomatoes, we've got some beautiful little baby calamari olives. Now, I like keeping the pits in, but you do have to tell your company about that. If you feel, you can certainly buy them without the pits, but I do like the dark, the black olives in the brine for the top of this. It pops with color and they have more flavor. Other ingredients we're going to need today is we're going to caramelize some onions. So I've gone ahead and done that. I've just done it in some sunflower oil. So I did nice thin slices of onion. Once it got to near the very end, I put a little bit of some garlic in. But I usually do a jar of these and keep these in the fridge because they're great for on top of pizzas and other things. So this is some that I had prepared ahead of time. The other thing you're going to need for this recipe is a little bit of mayo, okay? Just any kind of mayo, your favorite. Obviously some olive oil, and I like using Gruyere cheese. This is a nice medium cheese, and we're just going to grate it on, I call this the teardrop side. So not the large side that you would normally grate cheese because you want it a little bit finer so it melts more into the tart. So we're just going to do a bunch of Gruyere. You could use other cheeses if you prefer, but I like the nuttiness of this one and the texture. So you'll see the nice consistency of this. And this is very popular. They sell it in grated bags even in France. So it's more it's their version of mozzarella for lots of things. So now we have everything prepped. I'm going to show you how to assemble the whole thing. Now we're going to prepare the puff pastry. Now, depending on what brand you buy, they are different sizes, but generally they're in this type of vicinity, which is about 12 inches by 12 inches. So we want to cut it in half. So the trick is, so that we have a nice border around it, like a picture frame, you're going to take a paring knife and you're going to just slightly score. Please don't go all the way down. You're just touching the edge and you're making like a frame all around the outside, scoring with your knife. And what this allows is that it will puff around the outside and lift up. And in the middle, the ingredients that you have in the middle weighs it down. Then you get your mayo, and we're just going to paint inside the lines, okay? So you're just doing a very thin layer of mayonnaise. This is my knife that I use for icing cakes. It makes it a lot quicker. Just gives a little bit of creaminess on the bottom with the cheese, which is next. So again, make sure you're inside the border. So we're going to sprinkle the cheese on top. Then we're going to take some of the caramelized onions and place those on top of the cheese. Yeah, this is very subjective about how much you want to put on everything, but these add a nice depth of flavor. So the idea is just to spread it out nicely. Okay, now we're going to place the tomatoes on top. Again, right on top of the cheese, inside your border. And by placing it like this, you'll see when we're finished, then you'll be able to do some nice slices sideways. So there's your beautiful tart at this point. Now you have your black olives to put on top. So just how I'm looking at this today, I think I might just want to put one on top of each tomato because we're being very symmetrical in our layout today. And now we have some fresh thyme, and I just like to do a little sprinkling of that on top. If this one holds up under the heat, if you wanted to do basil, put that on after it comes out. Then I get my pepper grinder, and I do like to just put just a smidgen of salt just on top of each tomato, just to give it a little bit of extra opportunity to shine. So we'll do the second one the same way. We're going to put it then on a baking sheet with parchment paper, and we're going to put it in the fridge to settle. And if you're in a rush, just make sure, put it in the freezer for at least 5 minutes, because you've played with the puff pastry and it needs to be really cold when you put it in the oven. We're going to bake it at 425 and it doesn't take long at all. The tart has just come out of the oven. It was in there for approximately 20 minutes. You can see how the outside just puffed up beautifully. Just let it sit for a minute and you're ready to slice for your guests. Thank you for joining me again in Maison Maitland Kitchens.